If you could get private capital to do it all, wouldn't you want to have private capital and have the government capital applied to some other issue that we need to solve in America, infrastructure, pick it. So conceptually, you'd like it. Now, the practical reality is, if you think about the mortgage debt outstanding, $10, $11 trillion or something like that, mortgage debt outstanding, I think it's 10.5 or something like that, pick a number like that, and you think about all the deposits in the financial services system, it's about that number, slightly less. So you cannot finance this through the banks. And by the way, the nature of the asset is such that banks can't hold it very easily. But then you have the investment community in the U.S. behind it, and you have about 10 or 15% foreign ownership percentage of the GSEs. So I think in the near term, there's no practical solution other than to continue to participate in the governments, because the reality is that with uncertainty about home values, uncertainty about the process, uncertainty about what the asset, for lack of a better term, is, do you think people who don't know America, or outside America, are going to actually invest? And we need their liquidity to provide the financing, the balance sheet, for lack of a better term. So, but I think long term, the private label market will be there. We shouldn't equate what went wrong with the private label market around the CDOs and things like that. It had nothing to do with the private label securities market. It had to do with the restructuring and financial engineering around those things. But the actual underlying pass-through notes and things like that have been going on for I guess 30 years almost now, since the SME and stuff like that are there. They're true. The investors want them, both U.S. and others, and I think you can get there. That will require higher down payment sustainability and more sort of, for lack of a better term, tried and true underwriting. And so the question in my mind is, I think you need to bring the government down. I think you need to bring the private label up from the current level 9 to 10 down dramatically. I think, will it go away? Maybe, but I think that's a decade or two transition, not a 5-year transition, because the amount of investment capital to sustain the level of debt in housing in America is not going to come without liquidity and guarantee. And so I don't want to say a certain percentage, because people then will imply and try to draw a line and get there, but clearly the goal should be the least amount of support you need for the goal you want. And I think the goal is different now with a more stable population growth in the United States, that in an economy that needs to diversify a bit away from just depending on housing for growth, which was going on in the mid-2000s, you kind of got it where you want it. So let's let it ease out. And I think they should come down to a very small amount. The question is how and when.